Friday will soon be upon us, with consumers hoping to score some bargains, while others will be concerned about overspending. So how much are consumers going to get as a break, particularly considering the high food and goods prices and the fall, of course, in earnings? But what do they need to do so that they don't fall prey to the marketing hype? Joining me to talk about this is the National Consumer Commission spokesperson, Petro Ndaba, and the head of research and consumer education at the National Debt Advisor, Mushfika Bota. Good evening to you both, and thank you very much for your time. Petro, let's start with you. You, of course, are there to look at the relationship between consumers and businesses, and that particular interaction going to quite be important, I suppose, as we get into Black Friday. What are consumers needing to be looking at here in order to save themselves some heartache and save themselves some money?
Thank you so much, Tabo. Good evening to you and good evening to the viewers. Indeed, Black Friday, it's globally celebrated, and whereby consumers are actually looking at scoring big. But what we want to remind consumers, few things, so that you don't part ways with your money easily. You need to look at things like try to understand the return policy of the supplier. Try to understand the site if you're going to transact online. We understand that more consumers are transacting online as it saves them time, and they can easily compare prices. So try to understand the site itself. As we know that some suppliers, inverted commas, masquerade as legit businesses, obviously trying to score big and trying to make sure that they steal your money. You also need to understand and read the terms and conditions of a particular supplier you're going to transact with. This is going to help you. It's going to save your money. It's going to save you from issues whereby they are going to contravene the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act. We get consumers complaining about suppliers who make them sign away their consumer rights. When you talk about issues of warranty, when you talk about issues, or again, what they also use as footstools, we know that that one doesn't appear anywhere in the Consumer Protection Act. So those are the things that you really need to be aware of as a consumer. You need to understand your consumer rights.
Mushfika, I've seen some retail outlets saying we are having month-long Black Friday deals. I mean, how does a consumer know what a deal is and what a marketing hype is?
Thank you, Tabu, for having me. Something that we have to be aware of is that we do have some retailers in South Africa who have been known to, over the last few years since the inception of Black Friday in South Africa, to drastically overstate their discounts. And that does happen. We have been doing some comparative checks between what prices are before the Black Friday specials. And we have to remember that Black Friday for most retailers adds now to about just over 25 days. Most retailers have started some sort of Black Friday shopping discounts from the beginning of November already. So actually it's quite late in the day for consumers to now start making price comparisons. But I would, even at this point in time, urge consumers to actively go and look at what the prices are, make those price comparisons to make sure that you are actually getting a good deal. Because like I said, last year, after the 2020 Black Friday shopping spree, many consumers took to social media to lament what South Africans call Black Friday scams. Scams simply in the manner in which goods were advertised in saying, oh, okay, well, you're getting X amount of discount and it's a massive saving. But when we actually went back and we checked what the prices were in the months and the weeks leading up to Black Friday, there were no savings. So it's vitally important that South Africans take the time to make sure that they actually are saving, Tabu. Something that we also have to realize is that 2020 showed us that many South Africans were taking advantage of filling their grocery cupboards with Black Friday savings and Black Friday specials, which is an indication that South Africans are wanting to save on necessities. And I think it's vitally, vitally important that when it comes to necessities, that we actually are saving money and not actually paying more simply by buying into the hype of Black Friday savings and specials.
Yeah. Some concerns around supply chain constraints, particularly around Black Friday, but even more so now in the time of COVID, where generally supply chain has been quite constrained. What is your research telling you around people who never received their goods, having tried to take advantage of Black Friday specials?
Oh, thank you, Thabo. Yes, we are aware that some suppliers really would advertise and say you will receive this good or whatever your purchase on a certain date, and when that date arrives, the goods are nowhere to be found. The Consumer Protection Act makes it clear to say when you agree with a supplier or when a supplier agrees to deliver your goods, they must deliver at a particular date or a date agreed upon, time agreed upon, as well as the place. If that doesn't happen, definitely that supplier is contravening the Consumer Protection Act. That's why we say to consumers, make sure that you are transacting with suppliers. For lack of a better word, I would say with reputable suppliers, where you know where they are. If it's online, it's a reputable business. Like we said earlier on, some suppliers are there to steal your money. They are scammers masquerading as businesses. Others are squatting websites for legit businesses. So it's important as a consumer to really know the business, to know the brand, and to understand what you are doing. If they said they're going to deliver on Monday, they must deliver on Monday. And if that doesn't happen, there is contravention of the Consumer Protection Act, and that's where we come in as the NCC. But I think my colleague made a very valid point. Consumers tend to buy in bulk. I want to chip in to say, when you do that, ensure that you are indeed getting a deal. You know the price. If they said a loaf of bread, it's 20 rands, but if you buy 2 loaves, you'll be saving 5 rands, it's 35 rands. You need to do calculations. One is going to be difficult because already we are getting Black Friday or deals leading to Black Friday, but you know the price of that particular loaf of bread from the beginning of January already. And I think lastly, we want to say to consumers, if you're going to buy in bulk, particularly when it comes to consumables, make sure that you check the best before date. You don't want to end up with stock or stuff that is expired or it's about to expire. Come December, you cannot use those goods. So it's very, very important. While you save, you also check the best before date.
Yeah, let's talk on that particular question, Peto, of legit businesses. Other platforms where you can verify the legitimacy of a particular vendor that is purporting to be offering specials and products online.
Look, Thabo, it's quite a tricky one. It's actually giving consumer protection bodies a headache, this one. Because you have online marketplaces that would promise that we will, we're giving you discounts, we are affiliated with this business whatsoever. But when you really try to do business with them, that's where you realize that you don't get your goods or you don't receive your goods. We always say, try to check for reviews of that particular supplier. One might challenge that comment by saying, at times you don't have time to check for reviews, to go to Hello Peter. But it's always important to see what other consumers are saying or buyers are saying about that particular supplier. It's at your best interest to ensure that you understand if there's one negative review or 2, it's just too many. It basically means they are not trusted. Try to make sure that, remember, you have, from the Consumer Protection Act, you also have the right to choose a supplier you want to transact with. So do not chase deals or bargains whereby, unfortunately, you are not even going to get that particular or one good that you purchased. So it's important to check reviews. It's important to understand the website itself. If it's www.whatever.co.za, that's the supplier you have been transacting with. All of a sudden, it starts with a funny letter, or instead of .co.za.com, something else. Already it raises flags. Also check where they are. If you cannot trace their address, that's another red flag. Well, always try to ensure that it's a business that you can visit in case they don't deliver.
Mushfiq, how often do consumers actually take the time to do that homework?
I have to say that consumers are becoming more savvy, especially with online shopping. But again, I'd like to reiterate what my colleague has said, in that your rights aren't negated and you are not giving up your rights as a consumer because it's Black Friday. And I think that's something that National Debt Advisors has been dealing with, specifically in terms of the Consumer Protection Act, but also in terms of the National Credit Act. Somewhere along the line, there is the misconception that all the legislation that we have put in place to protect consumers via the CPA, via the NCA, flies out the window simply because consumers are getting better deals. And that isn't true. And with regards to consumers checking prices, Thabo, I have to caution consumers, please make sure that any saving that you are getting is a real saving, especially when you are buying something on credit on a Black Friday sale. Because if you're buying a big ticket item, if for instance, you're buying a television set for 5,000 Rand, it was 8,000 Rand, it's now been marked down to 5,000 Rand. National Debt Advisors has done a little exercise, and if you're taking out a 5,000 Rand personal loan, that you have an interest rate of 27.75% with over 24 months, yes, your installment is only going to be at around 450 Rand a month. But at the end of the day, that 5,000 Rand television set on sale is going to cost you nearly 10,800 Rand, which is double the amount if you had the 5,000 Rand cash. Now, South Africans are not known to be good savers, and that's certainly been exacerbated by the pandemic. But I would urge consumers to really look at the real cost of what it is going to cost them if they use credit, specifically high interest credit, to make Black Friday purchases.
That is good information tonight. I appreciate you coming on, and thank you very much for your intervention.